Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to the GM. It is your guy Boulanger, and up next on the GM NFC Wildcard Weekend. Do me a quick favor, hit like. If it is your first time checking the GM, hit subscribe. Also, hit the notification bell so that you get updates when we upload new content. Let's talk about it. So, the NFC kicks off this weekend with some pretty good matchups this week, and I think the scariest team in the NFC right now. No, it's not the San Francisco 49ers, but it is the Dallas Cowboys. Let's get this conversation started. The Dallas Cowboys will face off against the Green Bay Packers this weekend in Dallas. And we understand that Dallas is a different team at home versus on the road. And so these two teams come in on two different ends of the spectrum. What do I mean? Well, Dallas comes in with a veteran heavy team, from the quarterback to the wide receivers to the offensive line to the running backs, veterans all over the field. When you jump to the defense side of the ball, they have veterans down front, in the middle, and then they have a young secondary who has made a lot of plays. But when you flip to the Green Bay Packers and what they're bringing to the table this weekend, they have a first year quarterback. Although he's been in the league 4 years, but it is his first year as the Green Bay Packers starter, and so he's had to work to develop chemistry and unity with this new team, and he's done a good job because he's led this team to the playoffs. But I think their success stops this weekend. I think it's going to be good enough that Jordan Love took over this team and had some success, but they're going to be no match for the Dallas Cowboys on Sunday. I think both teams will come out and make an effort to run the ball, and I think both teams will seemingly struggle. That's where the pass game is going to come in. And I think the Dallas Cowboys have a high power offense. CeeDee Lamb is playing like a top three wide receiver in the league. Brandon Cook is a really good complementary piece, and then you have some other supplemental parts that are doing pretty well to assist Dak Prescott. Dak Prescott is playing his best quarterback of his whole career, and I think that it will continue at home on Sunday. I think the Dallas Cowboys win this game something like 30-21, 35-24. I think that Green Bay will put up some points simply because they will have to chuck the ball in order to keep up with this high-powered offense. But in the end, there'll be no match for the Dallas Cowboys. The reason why I said the Dallas Cowboys are the most dangerous team in the entire NFC is because they're kind of like a dichotomy. They're kind of like the best and the worst of themselves. They're the best at home, and then they seem to be their worst selves on the road. But I think that with a couple of playoff victories, which I think they will earn, with a couple of playoff victories, I think they'll develop a new confidence and be ready to go into San Francisco and battle against that stout San Francisco team. And so I think Dallas is the dangerous team in the NFC. Why? Well, because most people um, don't expect them to have any success. And I think being the underdog or the underestimated team, which we know very well in Baltimore, kind of fuels that fire. So let's jump to the second matchup in the NFC Wildcard Weekend. That's the Detroit Lions versus the LA Rams. I think this game is really evenly matched, even though we have a third seed versus a sixth seed. I think this game is evenly matched because you have two veteran quarterbacks. You have two offensive lines who are playing very well. Both teams have a number one wide receiver who can get his catches no matter who's guarding him. Both teams are committed to running the ball. Both teams are stout on defense, especially in the trenches, and they play complementary football on the back end. Both of these teams are very evenly matched up. But one thing happened on last weekend that may be a super detriment to the Detroit Lions, and that's the injury to rookie tight end Sam Laporta. I can't remember what type of injury he has, but he is a big part of this offense. In fact, you could say he's the most important part of this offense, in spite of St. Brown being the number one wide receiver. When you have a tight end who catches the amount of catches that Laporta had and to the tune of 900 yards, he's going to attract a lot of attention when he's out on the field, which allows St. Brown to maybe sometimes get the secondary cornerback or or to not attract a double coverage simply because Laporta does so much damage in the middle of the field. But from everything I've heard and read, Laporta's out this weekend, which means that is a huge gap that Detroit is going to be trying to fill with the loss of their tight end. And I think that bodes well for the Rams defense. I think that that absence will cause Jared Goff to take a little more time to find his open receiver. I think it'll cause Jared Goff to hold on to the ball a little more because you don't have that guy who can stretch the field in the middle. You don't have that guy who can attract a double coverage, which leaves St. Brown and other receivers open. And so I think that's favorable to the Los Angeles Rams defense. I think the Los Angeles Rams offense is really kind of clicking on all cylinders. We saw them a couple of weeks ago in Baltimore. We didn't see them in Baltimore. I mean it as a Baltimore fan. We played them, and they put up, I think, 30 plus points against us. Now in the rain, I might add, but they still put up 31 points, 30 plus points. Excuse me. And so we know that this offense can score the ball against good defenses. And so what you're going to have this weekend is a healthy Cooper Cup. You're going to have um, a Rookie of the Year candidate in their wide receiver. I can't pronounce his name, but you guys know exactly who I'm talking about. He has speed, he has hands, he has great athleticism, and in some ways, you could say oftentimes he's the number one wide receiver, and Cooper Cup is now the secondary receiver. Either way, they complement one another, and they will certainly attract attention away from the other wide receiver. I think the Los Angeles Rams will win this game. Here's why: you're going to remove all weather conditions. Number two, Matthew Stafford is going home. Matthew Stafford knows Detroit. He knows the fan base. He knows the city. He's not going to be a stranger to that field and to that area, which gives him an advantage. So when you take into the consideration that Detroit they do not have their tight end, and Matthew Stafford is going to have both his wide receivers, his top wide receivers, healthy and at his disposal, and the line is gelling even more, even at the end of the year. I think the Rams win this game on the road, which is going to be kind of a home game for Matthew Stafford. I think the Rams win this game 28-23, 30-27. I think both teams will score a lot of points. I think they're going to have to keep up with one another, but I do think the Los Angeles Rams win this game, and I attribute that a lot to the absence of the tight end and the familiarity of Matthew Stafford. Let's jump to the final matchup uh, in the NFC Wildcard Weekend, which is the Philadelphia Eagles traveling to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Excuse me. In this matchup, you have two teams who are also in very similar situations. You have banged up quarterbacks. Both Baker and Hurts have injuries. You have the Philadelphia Eagles having more injuries. You have them having AJ Brown suffering an injury last week. I think Dallas Goddard is a little banged up coming into this game. DeAndre Swift was banged up, I think, last week. And so you have a lot of injuries offensively for this Philadelphia Eagles offense. And so I think that that's going to balance um, the competition in this matchup. I think Philadelphia has a slight advantage over the Tampa Bay Buccaneers only because they still have the potential to have a higher ceiling. But that's going to depend upon the injuries that they walk into the game with. How healthy will Hurts be? How healthy will AJ Brown be? How healthy will this running game be? And then we understand that the Philadelphia Eagles defense has been horrible. over the last 6, 7 games. They have been underwhelming. And when you take a look at the Tampa Bay Buccaneers offense, they are an offense that can get it going. You have a stud in Mike Evans, who I would like for the Ravens to go out and get. If you hear me, Ravens, go at least pursue in Mike Evans. You have Chris Godwin, and then you have some other supplementary parts who are playing decent ball. I think this game will come down to mistakes. I really believe that's what this game is going to come down to. It's really hard to predict this game because there's so many injuries and there's so many more questions than answers. But I am going to predict the Philadelphia Eagles to pull this game out on the grit and grind of a Jalen Hurts. Um, if he plays, let me say it that way. If he doesn't play, all bets are off. Okay. But I am going to predict the Philadelphia Eagles to pull this game out in a low scoring affair, something like 21-17, 24, 21. I call it a low scoring affair because anything above 25 gets into high points. So I think the Philadelphia Eagles win this game. So listen, those are my predictions, man, for the matchups this weekend. Let me know who you guys want me to know. Let me know what you guys think that I missed, and let me know who you guys think will win. I'm your guy Boulanger. This is the GM, and we're out. Okay.